Hey, what's up guys, it's Dark Duels, and today I'm doing a Vendred deck profile. So I'm really excited for this one because this deck is a really neat deck that's basically based around Spawn and Resident Evil, which is a really cool thing. It's actually based around like the Titans of Resident Evil and Spawn's like outfit, but like the viruses that are made in Resident Evil, which is kind of neat from what I've gathered of this deck. I really think this deck is a really cool zombie deck because we've never had a ritual zombie deck besides Vendreds, which is a really neat concept. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad. Definitely check out the Patreon down below because we have some really cool rewards for you guys, like getting a signed card, getting your name in the description of every single video, and getting your request of a deck profile every single month that you are a patron. So let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Revendred Slayer. So Revendred Slayer is a really neat card because it has the ability that you can ritual summon this card with any Vendred ritual spell. And then once per battle, if this card battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation, you can manage the zombie monster from your graveyard, and this card gains 300 attack. And if this ritual summon card is sent to the graveyard, you can add a Vendred ritual spell from your deck to your hand. And if you do, send a Vendred monster from your deck to the graveyard, which is really cool. I like that ability, and it's a really neat card. 2 copies of Vendred Battlelord. Vendred Battlelord is the one I go for a lot of the times because it has a really neat effect that basically you can ritual summon this card with an Vendred ritual spell. But the really cool effect about this card is that you can banish 1 Vendred card from your graveyard to declare a type, monster, spell, or trap, and for the rest of the turn, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects of that type. And if this ritual summon card is sent to the graveyard, then you can add a ritual monster from your deck to your hand, and if you do, send a Vendred monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then, for the last ritual card, we play 1 copy of Revendred Executor. Basically, this card's a really neat one that you can ritual summon this card with a Vendred ritual spell, and this card's name becomes Vendred Slayer while on the field. And then when this card is ritual summoned on the field, your opponent cannot target it with cards you control with card effects, except this one. And if this ritual summon card is destroyed by battle or by card effect, then in Zone's Monster Zone, then you can add a Vendred card from your deck to your hand, which is a really nice ability to be able to add those Vendred cards back to your deck to your hand, but being a 3k beat stick is really good, too. For the Vendred cards that we're playing in the deck besides the rituals, we're playing 1 copy of Vendred Revenant. This card's really neat because what it does is basically all your Vendred monsters give the Vendred ritual monsters buffs. That's why all of these kind of sound lackluster, is because these give them buffs, which is kind of neat, kind of like the Blackluster Soldier monsters. But if this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect or by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. And a Vendred ritual monster using this card as a material to ritual summon it gains the effect of being able to target 1 special summon monster your opponent controls and banishing it as a quick effect, which is a super good effect. 1 copy of Hound Horde. Hound Horde, if this card is in your graveyard, you can discard a Vendred card and then special summon it, but banish it when it leaves the field. And then if you use it as a ritual material to summon 1 of your other monsters, then you can once per chain target a spell or trap your opponent controls and banish it as well, which is kind of like Cosmic Cyclone, which is really cool. 1 copy of Vendred Striggs. Vendred Striggs lets you, after damage calculation, as this card battles an opponent's monster, you can draw a card and then discard a card. It gives that as a buff, which is kind of neat. And if it's sent to the graveyard, you can view a Vendred card in your hand and then special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. And then 1 copy of Vendred Core. I don't play the other Vendred card that they have, the Vendred Anima. I don't like that one that much. I don't think it's that good because you banish any monster destroyed by battle with this card, but it's a level 1, so it's kind of hard to use it as a material. Besides, Core does a really cool effect that your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, so it protects whatever monster that you use or you summon off this, which is a really good effect. And it also has the ability that if this card's in your graveyard, you can banish 1 other zombie monster in your graveyard and then special summon this card. That's why Core is a definite one of over Anima, because Anima is not, to me, that great. And then, for the other zombie cards that we play a single copy of Jack-o'-Bolin. Jack-o'-Bolin is like in every zombie deck. You just discard a card, or discard a zombie, special summon it, and then banish it until the end phase, and special summon another zombie to the field from your graveyard, which is pretty cool. 1 copy of Vampire Fraulein. Vampire Fraulein is super good in this deck too, because it boosts the attack of all of your other zombie monsters when they battle by the amount of life points that you pay. So if you pay up to 3,000 life points in increments of 100, then you can make 1 card on your field go up by that amount of life that you paid, which is really a cool effect. 1 copy of Gozuki, just basically is Foolish Burial with horse legs. 2 copies of Mizuki. Mizuki can banish itself from the graveyard and revive a zombie, so it's kind of like Monster Reborn. 3 copies of Unizombie. The Unizombies are pivotal in the deck because basically they send a zombie monster from your hand or your deck to the graveyard, or both. Depending on what you're doing that turn, you can send both of them to the graveyard. And then you target a monster on the field, and for each one that you sent to the graveyard, if you sent one from your hand, you increase a monster on your side of the field attack or level by 1. If you send one from the deck, you increase the monster's level by 1 as well. It helps you level manipulate so you can go into synchro plays and XYZ plays. 2 copies of Shiranui Solitaire. Shiranui Solitaire really helps out as well because the Shiranui Solitaire basically special summons out Unizombie from the deck and gets it on the field as quickly as possible. And then 3 copies of Ash Blossom because you just have the hand trap there so you don't have to deal with your opponent's stuff. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Really neat archetype and really fun to play with, I have to say. So that's it for the monsters. Let's get into the spells. And I have to say, this card is ridiculously easy to keep on the field. Like, if your opponent gets rid of it, you just summon it back so fast. Like the very next turn, you're just going to summon another one. 3 copies of Super Poly. It is a zombie deck, so you're going to be playing Super Poly to go into Dragon, Necro, Nethersoul, which is really easy to do. But you can also play cards in the deck like your copy of Starving Venom with the copy of Verte Anaconda to go into that, which is really easy. If you go in a mirror match with zombies, this card's hilarious to play. 3 copies of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave really helps out too because it lets you target a card in your opponent's graveyard and banish it, and then they can't activate the effect. So basically it stops hand traps is the big thing about this card. 1 copy of Dragon's Mirror as my personal little tech card. That's why I go into Dragon, Necro, Nethersoul so often in this deck. It's because you draw the Dragon's Mirror and then you go into the Dragon, Necro, Nethersoul really easily. And with the Super Poly, you go into the Starving Venom really easily. So those are your 2 targets for your fusion monsters. The Dragon Mirror really helps out to go into the Dragon, Necro, Nethersoul because it's like a last-ditch effort boss monster that you can go into. We played 2 copies of Revendrid Evolution. Revendrid Evolution is a really neat card in here because basically this card is used to ritual summon any Vendrid ritual monster from your hand or graveyard. And you must also tribute monsters from your hand or field and or send 1 Vendrid monster from your deck to the graveyard whose total level to ritual summon, and then the ritual monster is destroyed during the end phase of the next turn, and you can only use 1 Revendrid Evolution per turn. We play 3 copies of Revendrid Origins. Basically what this card does is, this card is like the pivotal card to me in the deck because it has the effect of, this card can be used to ritual summon any Vendrid ritual monster from your hand or graveyard, and you can only ritual tribute monsters from your hand or field and or banish zombie monsters from your graveyard whose total level equal or exceed the ritual monster that you're ritual summoning. And if Revendrid Slayer is on that you control, would be destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can banish this card instead. Now, why is that pivotal? Because you do play a copy of your pre-prep of rights, which then with Revendrid Slayer, you can actually search both of these off of your copy because it says Revendrid Slayer in the archetype or in the name, which is kind of cool. Then we play 2 copies of Pre-Preparation of Rites. I actually bumped this down to 2 because I felt like I was clogging with it at 3. But basically lets you add a level 7 or lower ritual monster from your deck to your hand, and then lets you add a ritual spell from the graveyard to your hand. I feel like I wasn't getting the maximum value out of this card because I don't know why. I just didn't feel like I was drawing like 2 or 3 of it, and I couldn't activate all of them at the same time because I was keeping my monsters on the field. And so I bumped it down to put in the Dragon's Mirror. But you can drop the Dragon's Mirror if you want to and play another copy of this, or the Jack of Bolin is what I put in here instead of one of these, which still, I mean, it worked. Then we play 3 copies of Pre-Prep of Rites, which what you always search is, like I said, one of these, and your Slayer is what you always search off of the Pre-Prep of Rites, because it says you add a ritual spell from your deck to your hand and add a ritual monster from your deck to your hand whose name is listed on the ritual spell, which his name is listed on that ritual spell, so you can add him from your deck to your hand, which is kind of cool. So that's it for the main deck, guys. We don't play any traps in this deck. I don't play Daybreak anymore. I just felt like it was a little bit slow for what you were getting out of it. I might put it back in later, but I'm not playing it right now because I'm playing Super Poly. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing a single copy of Avengrid Savior. This card's a little bit better in its own archetype deck, which, I mean, usually is the way it goes. But what this card does is it becomes Vendrid Slayer while in the field, and then each time, you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. You can target a Vendrid monster in your graveyard and add it back to your hand, which is really nice because you can just add any of them back to the hand to be able to trigger their effects. And then during damage calculation, this card battles an opponent's monster. You can send a monster from your deck to the graveyard, and then whatever monster is battling loses attack equal to the level or level of the monster that you sent. So if you send a level 8, they lose 2,000 attack, which is pretty good. I really like that ability. I mean, it's just a good, it's just an overall good effect to be able to do, or excuse me, 1,600, not 2,000, which is a really cool effect. I really like that because just being able to send those cards from deck to graveyard and just immediately reduce something's attack is just really nice. 2 copies of Vampire Sucker. The Vampire Sucker is really cool in here because it works in any zombie deck because you can target a zombie in either player's graveyard. Or your opponent's graveyard and special summon it. And if a zombie monster is special summoned from either graveyard, you get to draw a card. So it combos really well with Mizuki. It works better in decks that play copies of Zombie World. This one doesn't because the deck is really tight and you just don't need it in here. For the other cards that we play a single copy of Boral Sword just to OTK our opponent, 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn to bounce stuff, Nightmare Phoenix to pop spells and traps, Crystron Needle Fiber because it special summons out our Unizombie out of deck, which really helps out. I mean, you have to link away Unizombie, but it's not that big of a deal because then you can summon other stuff out of the deck, which is kind of nice. It's just an overall good card in here, and I really like it. 1 copy of the Predaplant Verte Anaconda. Anaconda is really helpful in here because what this card does is it goes for the copy of your Super Poly just to be able to go after your opponent with it, which is really, really cool to be able to do. I like that, to be able to do that. And then we play a single copy of number 60 Timeless. This card's really neat in the deck because it can boost the attack of a monster by double and then let you swing at the cost of your next battle phase, which is not that big of a deal. Shogun Saiga because you can make Shogun Saiga pretty easy in this deck, and it's really, really helpful because if this card is special summon, you get to target a banished zombie type monster from your graveyard. You just get to banish it and then increase this monster's attack by the monster that was sent, which is super cool. And then if it's destroy a battle by card effect, then you can target 1 banished zombie monster with 0 defense and return it to the graveyard, which the neat thing, if you'll notice, is all of your Vendread ritual monsters have 0 defense. Like Battle Lord has 0 defense, your Executor has 0 defense, and your Slayer has 0 defense, so you can just banish them for its effect, and then it gets really big. 1 copy of Psyframe Lord Omega. Omega helps out because it's a zombie deck and it can rip a card out of your opponent's hand. Beals because it's a primarily dark base deck and it's really easy to summon. Borreload Savage Dragon really helps out in here too because you can just go Borreload Savage Dragon and then put it under like a card like your Crystron Needle Fiber or something like that. And then immediately just, go off from there. 1 copy of Dragon Necro Nether Soul because it's super easy to summon off of your copy of Dragon's Mirror. And then Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, which is the only Super Poly target. Now, I will mention you guys, if you do want to drop the Needle Fiber because you don't want to play that card in here, you can drop Needle Fiber and play Mud Dragon as well for another Super Poly target. That is another option for you guys if you want to go that route instead. I totally understand if you guys want to go that route because the only reason that you play the Needle Fiber is because you can, if you level manipulate your monster so high that you can't like synchro with it anymore, then you just get rid of it and then put another one on the field, which is really helpful. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a really neat deck. I highly recommend that you guys give it a shot. And it's just an overall fun deck to play. Like, it's just a good overall ritual deck to be able to just spam out your Revendread Slayer and just OTK your opponent. I mean, it doesn't like look like it's going to, but it will OTK. It's a lot of fun to do that. So anyways, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell near so you can come to our notification squad. Definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below. Tell me what you think of this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.